I want to thank everyone who organized this event. It means a lot to my dad, my brother, and I, and it means a lot to my mom, who's up there. And when I was asked earlier this week to do this eulogy, I was trying to think of what points I wanted to make. I've written many essays for school over the years, but this was much different. It came to me that I would only do my mom justice if I spoke from my heart, and the words will come to me. It's really hard for me to be here, not because I don't want to be surrounded by those who love my mom, and because this eulogy means that she has been taken from us on this earth. It's making me come to terms with it. As a child through now, I thought my parents is invincible and would always be there. Even though my mom had battled cancer for over 2 decades, I always thought that she would live forever, live to over 100. Even my dad broke the news to my brother and I about my mom's terminal condition just over a month ago. I still could not believe it. The prognosis was that she would live for 6 months. Then this past Wednesday at about 3:30, I got the call from my dad that the nurse said that my mom only has a couple hours to live and probably wouldn't make it through the day. He also said that the nurse thought that my mom was only alive right now because she was waiting for me so she could say goodbye to me personally. Because my brother and my dad are right now. My brother's staying with my dad and my mom when she was around, and I'm living in Glendale, a little bit farther away. When I arrived, I saw my mom lying there close to death. Although she couldn't speak to me and didn't fully open her eyes, she was still alive and she knew I was there. Her last few breaths, she was trying to talk to me as she was moving her lips. I told my dad, she's trying to talk to me. She's trying to say something. I honestly believe she was trying to tell me goodbye and that she loves me very much and will always be there with me in spirit. About 15 minutes after I arrived, surrounded by my dad, my brother, and I, she breathed her last breath. When my mom left the Philippines over 40 years ago to move to the United States, it was not an easy decision. It was also not a popular decision for many, but it was a bold decision. She had to give up the comforts of the Philippines and leave her family and friends who she very, very much loved the most and go to a land she wasn't familiar with and build a new life for herself with my dad. I don't know if I would have had the courage personally to do that, to make that same decision, but it helped her personally grow. And she honestly, I've asked her in the past if she had any regrets, and she told me she never had any regrets. She left to be with the love of her life, my dad. Starting off in the United States, which was a foreign country to her, she first faced her challenges and struggles, but grew so much from it. She was definitely not the same person she was before. Through some of our conversations, she would tell me that she was immature when she was younger and self-described herself as a spoiled brat. But learned to be more mature, which she did to become the wonderful, selfless person she became until the very end of her life on earth. My mom was everything to me and the person I loved the most. No one on earth loved me more than my mom. She was my best friend and the person I felt closest to. I told her everything about myself, even the most personal things and embarrassing things. She was also there for me when I had a cerebral aneurysm in 2007 and almost died. She, my dad, and my brother were my biggest support as I recovered. She personally nursed me back to health. She struggled with my pain, but was faithful in God that I would recover from this. She was very known as someone who prayed all the time. I remember her always with her rosary. I also remember her love for holy water, which we have in a bottle right next to our front door. And I would tease her about it all the time, about the holy water, and call it a potion. When I think of my mom, I have so many fond memories. Some things I remember are our trips to Japan and the Philippines, our trips to UC Berkeley and Stanford when I was looking for colleges, and her playing the piano early morning on her baby grand piano. There are several traits that my mom had which I admired. One of the traits I admired the most in my mom was her loyalty and faithfulness to God. My mom was loyal and faithful during the most difficult times. There are times I was angry with God for my mom suffering so much physical and emotional pain these past few years. It was very, very painful for her. My mom continued to be faithful in God's will till the very end of her life. My mom wasn't resentful, and I could tell that she was sad that I was angry about it. She was confident in God's love for me and definitely in her love for her. Another trait that my mom had I admired was her ability to not hold grudges. She truly looked for the best in all people and was very trusting, sometimes to a fault. Even through my faults, she continued to have unconditional love for me, and that's how she felt about her family and friends. At the very end of her life, she held nothing against anyone. Mom, I will miss you physically here on this earth, but I know you are here with me in spirit. I know my mom is here with us, and I feel her right now as she sends her loves to all of you. And I thank you so much for having this, and I really do appreciate it. So that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
For me, it's very difficult to truly capture the essence of the relationship that I have with my mom because we have such an inexplicably deep and beautiful bond. Of course, she's my mom, but not only is she my mom, she's also my very best friend and my confidant. And we would talk about absolutely everything. It didn't matter what the subject was, we would talk about it all. And one of the most beautiful things about our relationship is that there never was an ounce of judgment on her part in these conversations we would have. She would just always listen so intently to everything I had to say and absorb everything I had to say. Even the tiniest of details in the stories that I would share with her, she'd bring up randomly in conversation years later. And lightheartedly, I'd ask her from time to time how she remembers every single thing that I told her. And she would just reply, well, I don't have a photographic memory, but I remember everything because I listened to everything that you tell me. And for me, just by virtue of that reply, it's just one of the countless things that really reinforce what kind of mom she is. I mean, it's unfathomable for me to believe that there is another person on this earth who loves, genuinely and unconditionally loves their children as much as my mom loves her children. And again, certainly her actions would really accentuate that. But at the same time, it was the words that she would use to convey how she felt about us on a daily basis that would always be so incredibly reassuring. If my mom and I were not in the same physical space, it didn't matter. Every single day, no matter what the circumstances were, what the situation was, she always made time for her children. And she would text and she would call us every single day, again, if we weren't in the same physical space, to remind us how much she loves us and how much she adores us and how proud she is of the men we've become. And, of course, we'd have in-depth conversations. And during those talks that we'd have for hours, she would always find a way to sneak in some life lessons and words of wisdom. And we continue to live in accordance with the values that she passed on to us. My mom is so vastly intelligent and has such a wide-ranging knowledge base that those life lessons that she gave us were always so profoundly powerful. And the expectations that she had of her children were that we lived our lives honorably, with integrity, and exhibited hard work and dedication in everything that we did and everything that we set our minds to. She had those expectations of us because that's the method in which she lived her life on this earth. My brother made a very good point earlier by saying that my mom made a very bold move by leaving a comfortable life in the Philippines, marrying my dad and settling here in the States. And when my parents settled here in the States, they started fresh. They started from scratch and they worked incredibly hard, and they made a very successful life for themselves here. And certainly the love that they have for one another was a major driving force and catalyst that attributed to that success. But at the same time, my parents, always exhibited and had such an immensely hard work ethic and were diligent in every single aspect. And of course, that was an integral part, of their success. There are countless things that I love and adore so much about my mom. Her vibrance and her intelligence, her kindheartedness and compassion, her poise, her integrity, her wonderful sense of humor. I could just go on for days talking about her exemplary qualities that really just capture the essence of what a wonderful human being she was on this earth. And my mom shined a bright light in every single room that she walked into with her beauty and with her radiance and with her elegance. And, she just has this uncanny ability to communicate with anyone, not only to do that, but just to make you feel so comfortable within seconds of talking to her. And I think that's one of the reasons why she was able to form so many lasting relationships and friendships. The amount of love and admiration and respect that I have for my mom is immeasurable. And I miss her physical presence more than words can describe, and I love her more than words can describe. And it really is the little yet not so little things that I miss so much. I mean, I miss everything, but just we did everything together. We had so many bonding moments and shared so many laughs. We watched Laker games together, baseball games, tons of movies and television, everything. I mean, just the bonding that we had was amazing, and I feel the strength of her love and spirit every single day, and it really is helping propel me forward as I continue to live this life of mine. And I promised my mom when she was physically present on this earth that I would live my life to the absolute fullest and in her honor, because I know that's exactly what she wants. And of course, I'm going to fulfill, that promise. But I can only hope to live a life as beautiful and as rewarding and as fulfilling as the life that she led on this earth. And I can only hope to find a love as beautiful and as lasting and as remarkable as the love she found with my dad. With my mom's guiding light and her spirit by my side, every step of the way, I know that I'll inevitably have success. For the rest of my days until we reunite in the world in which she now rests. I have the utmost faith in that. We'll reunite in that world that is full of love and full of tranquility and full of peace. My mom was my guardian angel on earth, with me every step of the way, through the best moments of my life, through the worst moments, everything. She was always with me and was my biggest supporter. And she's now my guardian angel in heaven. And I love you, Mama. I'll see you on the other side, but you'll always be with me, okay? I miss you, my queen.